No way! Oh! Hey guys, how's it going? Chris here, and I know your situation is quite extreme. Let's just say I had quite a long night editing a new thing. You can check it out on Insta, which I'm super excited to share with you guys. And yeah, let's just say it's one of those days. Now the cool thing is that today, ton of suggestions from you guys to get into World of Warcraft cinematics, and specifically we're gonna take a look at the Battle of Azeroth cinematic sequences, which I think are a couple, 2, 3 of them. Disclaimer, I'm a huge noob when it comes to the games. I'm sorry, you're gonna probably hear me say some pretty dumb things, which I think is gonna make things fun. But at the same time, I did watch the movie. I think you guys are with me on that one. The movie was not really that good because it's still, let's just say Hollywood has a tough time translating awesome games to movies. But we'll get there in the end. So yeah, that's it guys. If you're new here, basically in the Filmmaker React series, in part 1 we react to the cinematic trailers, and in part 2 we dive in to have an awesome discussion about filmmaking techniques, what makes them awesome, and what visual effects we can potentially pull from them to do in real life using After Effects, which I think makes things super awesome. So make sure you subscribe guys and check out the other Filmmaker Reacts episodes. There are a couple now on the channel and you guys love them, so big thank you for that. And with that said, let's fire up YouTube and get started on watching the awesome World of Warcraft trailers. Okay guys, so I have the cinematic pulled up and let's just dive right into it. 1, 2, 3, go! Overhead shot, bird's eye view, liking it.
Ours is a cycle of hatred. Alliances forged and broken. We have paid the price for sharing this world.
Okay.
And we have forgotten
Ooh.
what makes us strong.
Nice.
Close ranks! Advance as one!
That's cool.
Mordaron will be ours!
My king, we have her cornered.
Keep
Nice.
firing!
Damn. Is she the... Nice. Here we go. She's on. That was sick. Oh, he's human! Secret. Did his sword broke? Damn. That is Here we go, boy.
Stand as one for the Alliance!
And that was sick. You know what this reminds me of? It's almost like Lord of the Rings on steroids, which is awesome. That is so cool. Gotta say, the quality is gorgeous,
That's the
man.
last of the soldiers. We'll be calling up farmers next.
Okay, so I'm guessing they won
When this war began,
or not.
I thought we were fighting for peace. But we're just fighting.
You're doing all you can to stop her, Your Majesty.
Okay, slower pace now. Is he the good guy, or I don't know? I guess both are good and wrong at the same time.
At Lordaeron, you had the chance to take my life. Maybe even end
Oh,
the
okay.
war.
I guess they did win. Damn, the lighting, man. Sound, design, everything.
Why didn't you kill me?
Cause
Do you know?
he's massive, isn't he?
I spared you because I believed you have honor. Was I wrong?
The
Do
enemy
you
of
want
my...
more innocents to suffer? The Horde.
I have given everything for the Horde! Blood for it, kill for it, and Sylvanas is destroying it. She will destroy everything.
Okay, so she's...
What I want is my Horde back.
So the elf chick is the bad one. She's hot though. Yeah. Oh.
Sarafang,
Join me.
why you spared my life?
I hoped you would stop her.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
I can't.
But together,
Not alone.
nice. Okay. Just going down, I'm guessing. This is amazing, mate. Nice. Pan up. Ooh, floating islands. We've done those. So he's going back to his village, maybe, to get...
So, this is home now.
whatever's left of it.
family. And where are they? Not far. This world. Well, it looks good. But it's wrong. Broken. Falling apart. Just like the Horde.
Symbolism, nice.
Do you know what she's done while you've been hiding? I left that life behind. I'm no one's savior. I will not lead the Horde. I didn't ask. But I hoped you would at least fight for it.
Ooh. I will lead it. Ooh. Nice. That was a good one. Oh, that is too cool, man. Ooh. That was sick.
You were followed. I followed them.
Nice. That was so smart. I followed them.
You and I,
Join me.
we don't get to hide.
Nice. The weapon. Nice. Give me a fight, mate. Here we go. Oh, round 2, baby.
Varrock, it's time. Those who defend Orgrimmar are Horde as well. Our brothers and sisters. These warriors have sworn to fight. For you. Many lives will be lost. Or perhaps just one.
One-on-one.
Sylvanas Windrunner! I challenge Makora!
I wonder what her story is. Damn, the eyes, man.
A traitor leading traitors. Why should I accept your challenge?
You want to make me suffer. Brother, you
Oh, the
cannot
brothers.
win. My old friend,
Or not.
you and I. We don't get to hide.
face on. I like it.
I set you on this path.
I'll finish it.
We knew where it could lead. Walk with me. The rest of the way.
That is so cool, man. The orb. Oh, she give him. No. Oh, that is cool, man. Nice. Please don't cut before the fight.
The High Overlord falls. I trusted you. And so did they.
What?
Death comes, old soldier. And all their hope dies with you.
I don't buy it. Come on. Stand.
You cannot kill hope.
Nice.
You tried at Teldrassil. You failed. Hope remains. You set us to kill each other at Lordaeron. You failed. Here we stand. You
The sun.
just keep failing. The Horde will endure. The Horde is strong.
No way! Oh!
The Horde is nothing!
Does he heal? I can't tell. Oh, nice.
You are all
Nothing.
nothing! If you
Holy.
could see yourselves as I see you. Toy soldiers in tin plate. Beasts who howl for honor. Standing as one. Savor it. Nothing lasts.
Damn.
What do we do now?
We bring him home.
Nice. Wait. Something wrong. Because she left. That was sick. That was sick. Holy moly, mate. What on earth did I just watch? Spot on, guys. Spot on. Damn. Okay, that was sick. Amazing recommendation. While I was trying to find the trailer, a lot of things popped up, so I'm guessing they have a ton of awesome trailers, so make sure you guys let me know, and if you can, the sequence in which one should watch them, because one of you told me something about Lich of the King or something. That was another one that was quite favorite among the comments. So do let me know, guys, and if you have some input in terms of the characters, because I'm really interested in the elf chick, because she looks like badass, and her story like seems very dark, so that was awesome. So do let me know what your favorite part was in the comment section below, guys, as well as the other trailers from World of Warcraft we should take a look at. So now let's jump into it, see it again, and kind of dissect it and take the best parts of it and kind of have a cool filmmaking discussion about it. So I would want to focus more on the fight sequences, because we talked about cinematography and points of pointing the camera lower and looking up the character versus looking down on them and things like that. And because this is quite long, I would like to focus more on the fight scenes, because they had some of the most creative kind of like transitions. So we start with the battlefield. I love bird's eye view. It gives us a very strategic overview of what is happening, and we can see the kingdom and the fighting that they're trying to take down the wall and things like that. So that is super cool. And I like the use of the clouds here. You can definitely do some CGI clouds, and just like if you have a cool drone shot and you want to flare it up a bit to get dynamic, you can put some clouds, like 2D assets, since the perspective doesn't change, and just like animate them based on the movement. That would be pretty cool, actually.
Ours is a cycle of hatred. Alliances forged and broken. We paid the price for sharing in this world,
Awesome.
and we have forgotten.
So by having the camera go through space and then the character moving in front of it, then we see kind of what the character sees, but then we transition in front of them to have a character reveal in terms of the face and how they're reacting to the scene that they see.
What makes us strong?
The eyes are sick. I love how, I mean, you would do the darkness with makeup. That wouldn't be too hard. We kind of tried to do something similar with God of War Rise of the Sun short film, when my character had the darkened eyes, but that one is way cooler. I wish we've done that one. And the eyes are super cool. We've done a ton of eye effects within After Effects, guys, so even though this is CG, obviously you can pull a lot of these effects. The only thing to keep in mind, as you guys saw in the tutorials, whether it was Tokyo Ghoul or the Naruto effects or anything of the rest, is you need the camera to be able to capture quality in terms of the eyes. Because if you underexpose and someone has dark eyes, like I do for example, there's not going to be much there to play around in post. Nice. Now we cut to what C sees, which is super cool as well. I love that. And oh man, at the end, how did the sword break in two, since it doesn't seem to be connected on the other edge? You know what I mean? But I love this. Actually, in the Creatrix store, guys, you can get an awesome fantasy orb assets, which are 5k and they're like the best. I'll have the link in the description, but the cool thing is I've done the cool Dragon Ball energy orb tutorial that you guys may have seen in the promos. So if you want to pull this off, let's say you had a prop and you had a cool sword with a circle, you can easily compose those orb assets and have it look super awesome, just like this one. Pretty straightforward, actually. So I love seeing this. When I saw it, that's the first thing that came to my mind. Ooh, I should make a short sword and have the orbs composed in them, because that is sick. So here we are introduced to a very cool weapon, obviously. And as it turns around,
We have her.
we see one of the main characters, as it's gonna be revealed later. And again, having the camera point upwards gives him strength, dominance, kind of things like that.
Cornered.
So now we know the opposition. We have the king type character and the dark elf fighting. Some pretty freaking cool warfare things going on.
Firing!
I love this. How she pulls arrow and then the darkness goes with it. That is I love that you have all the different kind of like elves, orcs, humans. That is super cool. That's why I said it's like Lord of the Rings are like awesome. Like 10, 20 times. I love how this is so much more engaging than the movie ever was. Cool. So this is one of the main characters later, and he took quite a bit of beating, but he's working with the elf, and then he gets captured from what I could tell, and then he's like, she's crazy, let's work together. So that was awesome. I love that view. I love this view where she's just looking and she kind of has like a slow motion, like peaceful moment, looking over the battlefield and seeing how technically they're losing. And as you ramp up the music, she's going on overdrive mode and she's just gonna start kicking ass. Nice. That is sick. That is so sick. That is stunning. So the cool thing about this scene is, focus how cool the music is, but when she goes on the final kind of boost, the music cuts out, we hear her scream, she just plows in. Oh man, that is so sick, come on. That's nothing. So, okay. Oh my gosh. So you can... The best way to do this would be CGI. Like movies, CGI, huge team behind you to do this thing. Now, since it's kind of like a mid-air smoke energy ramp boost, you can technically also do this with particle assets and other things, and you will compose them in, make them this really cool dark and kind of purplish tone, and then just go with it. But it would take a lot of work to pull something like this in this complexity and make it look good. I love, if you can take a closer look, you see how when she does the scream, there is this like pulsating effect that vibrates the space around her, which is super cool. See how it goes? That is super cool. That is sick. I'm not talking a lot about visual effects because those things are so advanced. You will need a massive team and 3D animators, simulators, all the good stuff. Sick. This is very smart, by the way. Usually in movies, if you want to make things realistic, characters need to wear armor and things like that. But the problem with that is, you can't show their face. And if you can't show the face, it's really tough to have the audience feel for them. Now, for example, in the Mandalorian series, he always wears his helmet, right? But you have a lot of episodes, a lot of time, and a lot of ways to build the character, and even then, it's not the same as looking in their eyes. That's why in the later episodes, spoiler alert, he does remove his helmet and we look at his face because before he has to pull it off. So here, what they do usually with whether it is like battlefields and things like that, they will have the character somehow wounded or have his gear damaged, so he has to take it off. For example, here he got a super cool punch, so basically his helmet flies off. And now we can see his face. which is super cool. If his name was Hemsworth something, I would not be surprised. Nice. Nice. Sick. I love the light, by the way. When we talk about light, I've talked about this in a lot of episodes. When you have contrast of light and contrast of color, it makes things visually extremely nice and stunning. So having the light coming from the side and kind of like illuminating his hair is really cool because it gives a lot of depth. But at the same time, they have the smoke that kind of like covers everything, and they play a lot with goldish tones in this specific trailer, as well as very mated, muted blues. Really blue and gold, lovely. Now we switch to a kind of like first-person perspective. That's also used a lot in movies as well. When you have the character moving around and looking around, it's cool to switch to their perspective as we are looking around with him. You know what I mean? So that's why they switch to the first perspective. So now it's his turn to look over the battlefield and see what's up. Building up decision, that orb, man. I love the reflection of the orb in his eyes. That is an insane detail. And again, how the light comes from the side and illuminates. Basically, do you see this blue light? I play with contrast in terms of the reds and the blues to give you contrast in color when it comes to this composition. Here, the sun kind of works the same way. If you want something within the frame to be defined, you need a light coming from the back to the side to give them sometimes it has different names, but sometimes it can be referred to as edge light. And basically it creates a very nice edge along the character, the subject, and it differentiates them from the background basically. See how the light wraps around him, disconnecting him from the background in a very cool visual way. This is how that's kind of like super cool. This is one of my favorite scenes. When he puts the sword down, do you see what the sky does? See? The sword goes down, we have a very nice flare, the orb kind of flares up, and then the sky goes as well. And I love the angle as well. If we talk about composition, he's composed in one of the thirds. Basically, you segment your framing in rule of thirds. You place them in one third, and then the other subject, item, whatever it is, you place it to the other third. But the cool thing is, we've also twisted the camera around, so the angle is really nice. So awesome. You can technically do this with After Effects actually, because if I go back here, we have a very cool asset composed in the hand, like so. It's kind of a tiny bit, it reminds me of the Kingdom Hearts sword concept VFX that I did, that had the orb, and I shoot the orb up, and then Kingdom Hearts opens up. So technically, you can do kind of like the same thing. You would have your hand, then you compose a lot of elements, including lens flares to get the light, then you would shoot the beam up, and then by duplicating and kind of have the same action of dust waves happening on a constant rate, you will have the dust flowing over you. Camera movement, camera shake, sound design is key. That's sick. Nice. It's like a bubble of protection of awesome. I like how it's like a veil of defense. One. I like how the sky opened up as well. Before it was very greedy and smoky, now we have a bit of blue shining through and more white clouds and stuff.
For the Alliance!
Sick. This is basically, and this is the definition of ending in a cliffhanger. Which, fair enough, it's a game trailer, pump you up for the game, but that is sick. That is really sick. And it's a very classic thing to have the two opposing teams ramping up to each other, and then the camera zooms in, and then the cut to black on the first hit. Super cool. That was sick. So now we move to a slower pace where the main character of this alliance, basically, has questions. He didn't kill the orc leader, the horde leader, and they're gonna join fights. Now this, again, I'm super stoked that the quality of the cinematics for these trailers is just top notch. And from the hair animations, the eyes, specifically the eyes, they did a great freaking job on
The
them.
last of the soldiers. We'll be calling up farmers next.
Sick.
You're doing all you can to stop her, Your Majesty.
I love kind of like dungeon scenes because you can play a lot with color, and it's contrasted by itself because it's dark and the only light sources technically are from the windows, so they create a cinematic ambience instantly. If you notice, a lot of times when you have a dark, gritty environment, for example a dungeon, it's quite good to ramp the saturation of things down and not have things as vibrant, because if I put this into After Effects and I wrap up the saturation, it's gonna look somewhat cool, let's say, doing some color grading on it, but it's not gonna fit the environment. Versus, if you remember in one of the next scenes where they're in the field and the sky is clear and it's kind of nice, things are extremely vibrant. But here, from the hair of the character, instead of nice goldish blonde, it's kind of like a tamed down matte yellow, like platinum almost.
Do you for the Horde? For the Horde. Destroy everything. What I want.
That's really cool. As we talked in other episodes, it's really useful when you have to make a cut to cut in action. For example, when the hand goes like this, that's when they cut to the actual scene that we can see where the hit lands. So here, if you can take a look, if I go frame by frame, we have the hand going by, and you link the two shots by the action that happens in them. Boom. Really cool.
Is my hope.
Really cool.
Sorry.
So they create the alliance. This is really cool. I think I know some of you guys are on the channel because you like filmmaking and visual effects, and you're part of the tutorial gang, and you move along with the things that go on in the filmmaking side of the channel. But I want to talk to the guys that watch this more because of the reaction and the discussion in general, and I want to talk to you guys about depth of field. I don't know how keen you are, but basically depth of field describes the separation of the subject that is in focus in relation to everything else that is out of focus. Now, quality is very often associated with how much blur a scene can have. The more blur and the more separation between the subject and the rest of things, the more cinematic and high quality something feels. For example, expensive cameras like the one that I'm using is considered consumer grade, but it is not cheap at the same time, and the lenses that I'm using are not cheap either. But basically, because of the size of their sensors and the glass and the aperture that opens up to let in a lot of light, they create the same thing. They create this amazing depth of field, which basically creates this thing. So for example, he's our subject that we need to focus on because he speaks or he's reacting to something that this guy says. Now let's keep some of the rules in mind. We have the rule of thirds, placing the character in one of the thirds and having the other kind of like seeing the edge of his face and kind of like basically looking over his shoulder. But the cool thing is he's blurred out. And look at the background behind this guy. It's blurred out as well because of depth of field. If you were shooting something with an iPhone or basically a camera that's not very capable in that sense, you wouldn't have this. It might be cool, crispy, 4K video, but if you don't have the blur and the depth of field effect, it's not gonna look as good as this guy. So some things to keep in mind. If you notice in the scenes before, across the board actually, when we have a subject, whether it is a face, the rest of the things are usually blurred out. The only parts that you don't actually need blur effects is when you have a fight scene and you want things to be more crystal clear, because there's a lot of movement happening, and also wider shots because you want to establish this space and not a specific subject within the frame. Really cool. So the fight, I love the fight. By the way, when I saw the floating islands, I laughed a lot because in the opening scene of God of War Rise of the Sun, I chose to put the floating islands in to establish a magical world, basically. And that was really cool, and I really love the effect, and there is a tutorial on it, as well as the fact that the project file is available in the Creatrix Vault if you guys are into VFX and filmmaking stuff.
Lord, no.
So they have the talk, joining and fighting together. This is sick. What? No, I don't wanna. No, go back. There we go. So the camera ramps up to get the sense that someone is speeding up to them, to get them off base. He's reacting to the fact that something is coming behind him because Spidey sense. This is sick. Boom. That is mad, mate. Oh, that is just like pure awesomeness. By the way, these things, it doesn't matter if this is a game trailer. These things, these CGI trailers or CGI movies, take a ton of money to make and a ton of talent and a team of great people working on them. I love the fact that the guy is smart, so he takes the smoke, dust, floats it up to make him visible. Oh, look at this, man. That is sick. You do need a team in 3D to make this happen. Sick. So we have the cool fight scene. Boom. I mean, from the size of the guys, they can just rip them apart, I would guess. That was so smart. I was like, oh, I was not expecting this. On midair. That is sick. That is sick.
Followed them.
That was really smart as well. So they join forces. Epic. This scene, spoiler warning, if you haven't played God of War 4, how amazing was the scene where Kratos, Atreus is sick and he needs to do stuff and he needs to go back and he needs the Blades of Chaos. So he goes back home, opens up the floor, and he takes them out. That scene was, so awesome, man. So awesome. I love these things. So they're getting ready. They have the cool power stance, looking up to them, being strong and awesome and just like ready to fight. Again, what is up with me today? I keep bumping into this thing. God damn it. Cool, and now we have the final confrontation, which happens in the game, I'm gonna guess. So we have like kind of like Gates of Mordor kind of thing, and he's challenging her to come out. I love her design. She must have a sick backstory, doesn't she? Let me know if you don't mind. I would love to know. Just saying.
Why should I accept your challenge?
I'm the one who challenges, boy. I love that he gives the sword to him. And it's cool that we have kind of like a sunset setting. When you have battlefields, we actually talked about this in the Assassin's Creed Valhalla battle scene when they have the cool sun giving a lot of cinematic light. There is a phrase in the filmmaking space that's called golden hour, and it describes a few hours, usually about 2 hours, between when the sun rises and when the sun sets. And in those two instances, because the sun is not that high giving harsh shadows, and it's on the sides. One, it creates softer side light that is way more pleasing to the eye, and two, it creates a gold color. It's not just like pure light shining in your face. If you try to make a photo or during summer in the sun, how the shadows and everything are so harsh and crisp, versus if it's summer, if it's like sunset time, the light is goldish and nice color and warm and gives a lot more of a pleasing image.
And we knew where it could lead.
See? Beautiful lights. I love that he gives the sword again, like that is a sick dual wielding power. So he goes one-on-one, we have some really cool things happening. Man, it would be possible to do it with After Effects and have a slice, track it in, and if the movement is not insane, compose particles and fade them in and fade them out where the wound is. That would be sick. Things to keep in mind, sorry for cutting on the action scene, that's why we saw it first. In this battle, they cut all the soundtracks. There's no soundtrack playing where this is happening, and this usually in movies is used a lot as well. And actually, by removing the music that usually playing, it makes it raw and visceral, if that makes any sense. For example, in Harry Potter, oh man, which one was it? I think it was number 5, when Harry loses his guardian, Sirius, and they cut all the sound, but they did the opposite. They let the music amplify, and then they cut the natural sounds of Harry screaming in agony. That is a reverse of this one, and it does its other thing. It disconnects everything, and it just... which is super cool. But I love doing these things where there's a battle, and in the very pivotal moment, they actually cut all the soundtrack, and this is pure sound design that actually happens, and it just goes. Sick.
The High Overlord falls.
Now that she starts talking, the actual soundtrack comes back in. Sick.
I hope.
You tried at Teldrassil.
You fail.
At
You
Mordor.
fail. You fail.
You failed. Keep failing. Be strong.
The Horde is nothing.
Man, what is she made out of? Like,
All.
sick. I love when she's just like, okay, boom. Fuck. Oh my gosh. I love this scene. Okay, this we can do, guys. I'm gonna tell you how. So, you would have a drone that needs to be able to shoot 4K. Now, you would keep the drone steady, so you don't have to worry about cinematography and camera movement. You will place the drone in kind of a similar fashion, and you would just let it there hover. The cool thing is, because it's 4K, you're gonna zoom in to 1080p in post. You will make the entire composition in 4K, but in the final render, you will have 1080 and you will be zoomed in 1080. You will have the impact happen, and as the impact happens, you will zoom out to have the full scale, right? So as you zoom out and the effect is there, you will compose in what's called radial blur and have it go like this. And because you've composed all the assets in, then you will have the explosion happen. And again, you will put some camera shake while the cool impact is, but it's all about assets. If you have the right assets, the right kind of like dust waves and explosion waves and kind of like energy field happening, with a drone shot and that, it can become a masterpiece. I would really, really love to replicate this actually. I love this series, man. This is the cool thing that some people don't realize. These game trailers are so full of creativity and awesome things that just spark more ideas and things to do with live footage, which is why I love this series, man. I love reacting to them and I love discussing about them and talking about them. Sick.
I
Saucis flies off.
Savor it.
Sick. Oh, I've done the exact same scene. Spoiler alert, God of War Rise of the Sun, a very big project of mine because I had the entire post-production on my back, man. That project was long AF. Where my character died and the audience was expecting credits, it actually cuts to the same bird's eye view doing that twisty movement, which is super sick. Go watch it, guys, if you haven't. It's not the best, it's not like a masterpiece, but it's a fair attempt to create something cool for fans. Sick. Cool. That was basically it, guys. Let me know again what your favorite part was, what is next when it comes to World of Warcraft cinematics. I keep all of your recommendations. I have a massive list now, but I'm always want to hear from you guys. This was sick. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and stay tuned for what's coming up next. Filmmaker Reacts episodes come out every week, and we have so many things to have a look at, so I'm really pumped about it. So until next time, guys, stay awesome and creative.